Good evening, everybody. I hope everybody's having a wonderful day. This is the third part of my series of doing Hey Baler Talk with the Balerman. So I've got myself an iPad here so I can see your questions as they come in. Ask any question you want about Hey Baler. Some of the other videos will go into great detail on some things. I had questions from baler twine to what kind of maintenance to do on the balers. Um, like I said, it's interesting. This has been kind of helpful. It's actually cut down the phone calls quite a bit for me, which has been kind of surprising, which is actually enjoyable. Can't say that I've had that great of a experience, but I'm gonna also talk a little bit more about my, I guess, my role with my new venture, helping a friend out at Binghamton, New Holland, and Vestal, New York. I am now at that location, helping get things turned around for that dealership. So, welcome aboard. I'll see a couple more people logged in. Uh, I'm the Baler man. So, if you got any questions for me about hay balers, square balers, round balers, big square, I'll try to answer them to the best of my knowledge. I don't have all the answers, guys. Everybody thinks I do, but I usually don't. But I'm able to figure them out and move forward. Um, a lot of it's to do with broken parts, and some of it's to do a lot with quality of baler twine. So um, I'm trying to look over here at the iPad, see if there's anybody answers any questions you guys got for tonight. I'm going to talk a little bit about my role with New Holland Binghamton, with a good friend of mine. His name is Paul Barber. Great guy. We've been friends. I mean, pretty much ever since he was a little boy. I mean, I babysat him, and we grew up, and we both love farm machinery. So, kind of a venture he's going on, and we've been doing the baler repair stuff for a couple years now. Baler rentals, and mainly focused on cloths, round balers, and the belt and the rotocut. Our favorite balers are the 380 rotocut, 350, 250s, 455s, and we did have some 375s, but we sold them to a couple people that really enjoyed them. Hello, howdy yourself. I don't know what it is. Icon, Mister, no. Um, but yeah, having a great night. But New Holland Binghamton's going to be an adventure for me. I've worked on my own tractors a little bit. I've helped up to a friend of our shop learn some things from him. Not a lot. Just to be Nelson Parts. Now it's Green Light Tractor Parts, run by some Mennonites. Great people. Great people to work with. They're overwhelmed up there. So if anybody's calling in to try to get parts, really easy phone number to remember. For any kind of John Deere tractor, new generation, not the old two cylinders, but everything from the 1020 on up to almost all the new ones now. The phone number is really easy to remember. It's 1-800 730 4020. So, again, that phone number is 1-800 730 4020. That's a place you can get all your John Deere tractor parts from the 1020 all the way up through to the new tractors. They carry a lot of aftermarket parts. Great group of guys. Just they're really hard to get a hold of because they get overwhelmed with phone calls. So bear with them. Leave them a message. They will get back to you. It might take them a day or two, or depends on how busy they are. But trust me, it's worth the wait to get a hold of them. They'll save you some money. Andrew, how you doing? One of my Aussies are in the house. Kind of did the video early tonight, guys, for my friends that are in Australia. Great group of guys. Someday I will be there. So, how are the New Holland D800,000 balers to work on? Only thing I've ever done to them is really adjusting the knotters. That would be a question for Clyde Harms. Hoping to get him to come on one of the Sundays and talk about them. A lot of the stuff I do with the big square balers, guys, once in a while it's a bearing or two, but most of it's knotter stuff, knotter troubles, you know. And it's like I said, it's with the double tie system on most of the new balers, like the Massey's, which is the Heston, you know. The New Hollands are impressing me. The New Holland baler with their new knot style they got. Be interesting to see how that holds up through the as it goes through production and people get it out there and try it out and see how well it holds up. Claws to this day is still single tie knotter system. Everybody says, "Oh, that's not the way to go." Well, I've had no trouble with them. I adjust them in, and we run really heavy string. We run up to knot 800 knot strength. My friend John in Canada, great advice from him. He did a lot of work with putting shredder heads on the claws balers, and he showed me some adjustments, and we've shared information back and forth. Great guy. So, balers. The New Hollands, I don't know. I hate to be partial, guys, but I'm more of a claws guy. For as far as big square balers, I did like the John Deere 100, which was the Crone. I do like the Crone big square balers, the new ones. They've done their homework. They've got a pretty good baler, and I mean, some people complain about the maintenance is kind of high on them, but the machine takes the abuse really well. I would like to see Massey fix a lot more of the structural strength of their baler. There's quite a bit of spots that we see that are weak, breaking, cracking, not holding up as well. Still all around good baler, but like when you start sticking them in corn stalks and soybean fodder and stuff like that, and it's just you start see the fatigue of the machine coming out. Like it's just they could do better. And I literally think, guys, today I don't care what manufacturer it is, I think they're designing stuff to fail, so that way you have to buy more new. It ain't built like the old balers, like you're talking the early square balers. I don't care if it's John Deere, Massey, Ferguson, International, Oliver. If you notice, those balers are going into 50, 60 years old, and they're still out there, still baling hay. And I mean, they've got millions of bales on them, and some of these balers do, and they're still going. You can't get a new baler today to do that. They will be completely wore out from just the actual hay itself because the manufacturer's just taking the hardness out of the steel, and they're out to sell more balers and sell more parts. It'd be nice if you're paying $30,000 for a baler that you get something that would last, literally. I'm going to post an ad here. And you guys will be surprised. It was in an old farm journal, and it talked about the New Holland 77. And they called it, at that time, I think the sale price on it was like $800. And they said it was the only baler you would need for your family farm. It's a generation baler. No truer ad to this day proves that. And I mean, they never did that for John Deere or said that, but the New Holland 77 baler is beyond past itself as a generation baler. There's been families have used three generations have used that baler and it's still going. And they're just built that well. But it's amazing how the transition into the 60s, all of a sudden they started taking, and into the 70s, taking more metal out of the balers, making them lighter, making them more tinny. Just not built for what they used to be. And for the money you're paying today, you really wish they were built heavier and they would last longer. But, of course, marketing, they can't sell anything. If they build it to last, I think they legitimately design them because to see these balers reach a certain pinnacle on bale count numbers, it depends on if it's alfalfa or clover. They really wear balers pretty hard. If you're baling grass hay, you're really not putting a lot of wear on your baler, but clover and alfalfa really put a number on it. Baling corn stalks, guys, is hard on any of them. The dirt in the corn stalks is hard on them, and I see guys trashing balers all the time with that stuff. But is there anybody else questions? Let's see here. I said I'd like to see the Vicon continuous round baler imported to the States. I've heard things about that. I haven't seen it yet. Mostly good. I don't know. I'd like to see one myself, actually. But like anything, Krone for a while had balers here that were just chain balers. And over in Europe, they had the belt baler, which I thought would be a nice addition to compete with Kloss and Vermeer and New Holland is Krone bring their belt baler over here. I've had a lot of guys ask me about what I thought of McHale. I think McHale is a really good baler, but I have one downfall to them. I had two come through my shop, and I think it was 2 years ago. We had a roller in one broke, the shaft broke out of the roller, and it took us over a month and a half to get parts. I think if McHale wants to be in this country, they're gonna have to like really do a lot better job of getting parts here for those machines. I think their fusions are good balers. I really think I think McHale's got a good baler out there. But if you don't have the parts support, farmers aren't going to wait around month and a half, 2 months for parts. And this was before COVID really got into play. I can't imagine what it is now. I haven't had another one come through the shop, and like I said, it's been over what 2.5, probably 3 years. But wasn't impressed with it. I thought the machine was built well, and then I think it works well. But as far as waiting a month and a half for parts, the gentleman still has the baler. But the nice thing about it was we have my business. We have rental balers. We have cloths ready to go. You bring your baler in, you let you take a baler home, so you keep baling. Because in this day and age, guys, you all know that with the balers the way they are now, when any distributor, I don't care if it's John Deere, New Holland, Massey, any of them, it's getting parts. Like, balers break. I mean, if they stay in a shed, they never break. Had a gentleman, he passed away a few years ago, but for 10 years before that, he would tell me how great Alice Chalmers balers were. Not the roto baler. I think it was a 444. He said how great the square baler was, and I bought into it, and I was thinking, wow, I mean, I've been working on balers. Maybe Alice Chalmers made the perfect baler with a 444. I've not really worked on that many. So one day I finally took the time and I drove up to where he lived, because that's all I heard about how great this baler was. When I drove by, you know what I saw, guys? There was a tree probably 8 inches across growing in front of the baler that was parked in the shed. So yeah, so any baler that doesn't go out and bale and just sits in the shed is the greatest baler ever built, because guess what? It's not going to break if you don't use it. So, is there any other questions you guys got? It would be a part. I have to look at my iPad, guys, because this is how this works. See, I got all your comments come up here and your questions. I'm able to read them because on my phone, they disappear. They show up for just a second or two. They disappear. I don't know how all this works. Like I said, this is my third video doing this to chat with everybody. But it was really nice to see some of my friends from Australia on. It's really awesome. If you guys have any other questions about any of the products, I'd really like to see the Vicon continuous baler. But like I said, so far the reviews I've seen, it was good. The AC302 was my first baler. I think you mean the AC303, correct? I don't quite that. They're all right. They're kind of like see, Ford balers were, a lot of those Ford balers were made by Long, and I tell you what, guys, something to think about. A lot of you guys are out there. We need to find, I don't care who it is, need to send me a picture of a Long baler, because Long made Ford balers and then they kind of broke off on their own for a while, and Long was producing balers, and then Ford told them, if you don't stop, we're going to not have you guys get balers from you and in our name on them. And so I really would love to see a Long baler, because I think that's probably going to be a rare find to find. But I bet you there's somebody out there that's got one. There got to be. So if somebody got one and they take a picture of the baler and the serial tag, I will put you at the top of Hey Baler Nation for the photograph at the top of the page. I'll pop it up there if you can show me that, send me that picture. So. Oh, okay. So it had a shorter tongue, the 302 did. So I did not know that. So right there. So I never have seen a 302. I heard probably the model number said a couple times in my life, but the 303s were all over in my area. Very good baler. The 442s were all right. And the 444s, I mean, there was a couple of those around here, but there's a lot more 303s and then quite a few 442 Alice Chalmers. And, of course, the famous roto baler. I think there's probably, I don't know, probably 1 million of them across this country still sitting in either in the hedgerow, or there's a few hundred of them still being used. There's a gentleman in Missouri that has quite a few of them. Nice collection at that. I actually got to fix his international square baler for him, got it adjusted in. So, has anybody, see, we got quite a few viewers on. Has anybody else got any questions about hay balers, pertaining to hay balers? I'm going to, here in a little bit, I want to go over some more about my venture with New Holland, Binghamton, and Vestal, New York. We got toys in today, everybody. So if anybody's looking for some New Holland toys, Nikki and Parts, call New Holland Vestal and order yourself some nice New Holland toys. She got in a brand new set. We got some pedal tractor came in, some other stuff, and we're just trying to bring some stuff in for the kids and make it more family friendly oriented. So, Andrew, you still there? One of my gentlemen from Australia. He commented earlier. He said he was going to try to get it on and off. So we'll see how he makes out with that attempt. Guys, I mean, on the balers, had somebody today called me on maintenance. On the knotters, guys, a lot of guys grease them every time. So I suspect, what'd you say, Andrew? I suspect you don't use the hole in the all twine knotter disc to keep alignment on the 444. No, I don't actually. I adjust those to feel how the baler functions. The toys aren't listed on here. I posted if you guys are on my Facebook page, it's Balerman on Facebook, and if you go to Hey Baler Nation or Hey Baler discussion, High Baler Repair and Discussion, that's another group that I'm in. I'm going to post it on there. It's New Holland Binghamton, and it's in Vestal, New York. If you look it up on the internet, there's a phone number on there. You can look it up, and there's a picture of the toy display I'll put up there for you. And like I said, we're going to bring more toys in, obviously, and it's kind of cool because they actually gave us an option to order plastic skid steers or metal ones. So we ordered a little bit of both and a complete farm set for the kids. And we got a pedal tractor we got in. So I haven't put it together yet, so we'll see how that works out. Possibly tomorrow I'll do that. But Andrew's driving. You can tell me what you do. So, Andrew, it's kind of hard to explain. What I'm going to do is this Sunday coming up is going to be the first Sunday. And remember, guys, I'm not going to do this every night. It seems to be drawing a few people here and there, but I'm going to try to do it just 2 hours on Sunday night. And I'm hoping to do it in the shop with a baler. So we're going to bring in different balers and walk around them and talk about them and do a live chat with you guys. And don't forget, there's a video for John Deere owners, John Deere baler owners. There's a timing video I did quick on Christmas Day for you guys, how to time your John Deere baler from the 336 all the way to the brand new 348. Change your chains out, set the marks in the video for timing, and bada bing, bada boom, you're done. No frills. It works excellent. And everybody wonders how I got time baler so fast, and there's no secret to it, guys. I've done it long enough. It gets easier and easier all the time for me. Just change the chains on your baler, and you won't get a visit from me, literally. So, and you won't have to call me. So that's like the key I could say the most is everybody thinks chains aren't that important. They are. You got to remember on the John Deere baler, the front timing chain, that's driving the feed forks, the knotter, and the auger. It's a lot of strain for that number 50 chain. Now, I really liked it when John Deere for the 224 and 24T had the double roller chain in the front. I thought that was a great thing, and I was really hoping they would have carried that right on through to, the 336 on up, but they didn't. They went back to the single number 50, so kind of a weak link there. The front timing chain on the 336s is 68 links, okay, and the chain that goes around the feed forks is 86 links, guys. And when I mean links, the book says links. It's every roller on the chain is the roller link. It's not a link with two rollers in it. It's every individual roller in that chain. So when you count them out, the book tells you, 86. Say it tells you 87 links. So that means there's 86. You break the chain, and then you add a half link in, and that gives you your 87. And then you put your master link in. But most of the balers, you adjust the arm all the way back. That eye bolt, you can get the 86 or 68 links will fit right in there on that front timing cover. And I think the 348s might be a touch longer. I can't remember. I do so many 336s, 346s, and some of the 327s. I mean, it's like the main balers everybody's got anymore. As a few do a few 347s, but 68 links in the front timing chain, number 50, and the number 60 chain is 86 links for the feed forks. So, but there's a video in my thing back on YouTube. You guys can go back and look, and you can watch the John Deere timing DVD I did on Christmas Day. So it was my gift to all the farmers out there. I'm going to do another gift this winter coming up for Christmas. I'm trying to debate with probably take a vote, International or New Holland. So we'll pick a model to do. Most people like, they do have timing marks on New Holland, but New Hollands are noted because they're knotter shafts. And I've seen 6 of them in the last 10 years. The shaft can twist a little bit, and those timing marks don't line it up no more. And it actually causes the needles to run a little late on their cycle, which causes, like a lot of guys, they'll snap shear pins for no reason. They check it, the needles are all the way back, and the plunger stops out. Why did it catch? Because it finished the cycle as it caught the plunger to break the shear pin. And then it jumps out of the way because the pressure comes back off after it hits the plunger stop on the arm. So, and that's because it's so close on the timing, because that gear actually twisted on that shaft just a little bit. So, any more comments, guys? I'm doing this one tonight earlier to catch my Australian friends on, and I said I was talking a little bit about the venture with New Holland Binghamton, with my friend Paul Barber. Great guy. Like I said, we grew up together. Can't ask for a greater friend than that. Some other good shout outs. Chip Hollenbach. He now works at New Holland Binghamton as well. He's in training as being a technician. So hopefully we got a couple more young guys coming up that'll be coming on board as well. We're revamping it, guys. Bear with us. It's gotta work things in, get people trained, and should be turning it around. It's going to be a new adventure, that's for sure. The hay tool thing, I got it for you guys, okay? We're going to have lots of rental balers up there, so we're going to be probably the leader in probably the Northeast for baler repair and baler, rentals and stuff, because there's nothing worse than when your baler goes down, not be able to get your hay put in. Well, not a problem for us. Whether it takes 3-4 weeks to get the parts in from New Holland, we can get you a baler in your hands, go out and bale your hay for you. And we are also moving, our Cousin is going to be part of New Holland Binghamton now as well. So if you guys are looking for the multi-pack, 4-stack, or the auto stack, look no further. So we'll have one on display at the New York State Farm Show coming up at the end of February. Hope to see you guys there. And yes, I'll be there again to sign some autographs. I'm going to have some t-shirts to pass out, guys. I'm getting a few of them made up. Haven't decided on a design yet. I'm going to pass out some Balerman hats to people that mentioned my name at the farm show and saw these videos. You got to watch the videos through to see what I offer, guys. So going to be some hats and t-shirts involved. The guys in Australia, you got to get a plane ticket and come over. So it's the New York State Farm Show. It's indoors. It's at the end of the month here in February. And it's great. It's a great show, people. Like, it ain't during the haying season. It ain't during the summer. There's no excuse not to come out and enjoy yourselves and stop out and say hi, I would like to see how many people from the groups come out. They'll get your picture, get you on the internet. If you don't want your picture, that's fine too. But at least I'd like to meet you, shake your hand. If you got some questions for me, you can ask me in person. And I'm always up for a good chat with anybody. So, everybody's always got questions they don't think of when they're on here. So, is there anybody else that has any comments or questions? And you have to forgive the delay, because when I look at the answer, it takes me a few minutes to reply to it. I had a couple people today calling asking about parts for the older balers. Yes, I do have a parts yard. I do have access to older baler parts. And I have a great contact with a gentleman at Rovendale Ag in Wysox. His name is Lyle Romanell. And great guy. And if you call him in parts, and he was able to find a lot of obsolete parts for me. So great guy down there. Hopefully we get ourselves up and running, and we're able to do a lot of that ourselves. But he's a great source for looking for old New Holland parts that are obsolete. He's able to find them, and he's just a good guy. The Howe auction. Where's that located at? Oh, okay. You're talking Roger Howe in Columbus Junction, Iowa. Yeah, guys, that's going to be a large auction. Great friend of mine. I miss him a lot. I mean, he passed away. I think somebody posted in November. Yeah, he's got a largest international collection of hay tool stuff like hay binds, balers, corn pickers, planters, you name it. He's got it. He's got a slew of tractors. Someone said they did already have an auction to sell down some stuff, but he still had a lot of stuff there. So, you know, and it's just he's got a large collection. And I got my heart set on a few tractors, but I'm only there if they go reasonable, guys. I own them, but hay conditioners, yes, I do. I have right now. I only have one international hay conditioner. Actually, no, I got two international hay conditioners. I haven't got a chance to go through them, guys. So the secret to the international hay conditioner, it's not a crimper. Okay, the 2A 3334. Okay, the 2A, it's got a thinner belt. It's just a lighter duty hay conditioner. And this reason that conditioner works so well is the rollers are running at different speeds. And they come down and you set shims up and they almost come in contact with each other. So when the hay goes through, it rubs it and that's why they call it a conditioner. It doesn't crimp it. It actually rubs it as it goes through. And it softens the hay. And in our experience with the older horses is we go over it once, twice, the third time, that bale is so soft when you lay on it, it's just like you can hardly get a scratch. It's that soft. It softens the hay up that much. And it helps a little bit with drying. Probably not as much as if you tedded it. But what we found is if you go out and you mow it down and you go through and you hit it with the hay conditioner a couple times, then ted it, you got the ultimate. You're baling hay usually, if the ground's fairly dry and you got the right conditions, you're baling hay the next day and it's beautifully soft hay. Problem is the international hay conditioner only does one row at a time. And it's only designed to take I think it's only 7.5 foot wide. So you're limited on how big of a windrow you put in there. And they really don't enjoy 13-foot cut machines because you put so much material going through the edges. The rolls separate a little bit. So the center really doesn't get processed well. So, but like I said, the 2A is a lighter duty conditioner. The belt's a little narrower. It's got lighter bearings in it. The top bearing's non-greasable. The bottom was greasable. And the rubber roll. The 33 has got a wider serpentine belt, heavier bearings, and, that runs greasables on the top and bottom. They both do the same job. Now, the 34 comes with a metal roll on the bottom, rubber on top. That one doesn't really do as nice a job as the rubber roll ones do. It still conditions, but it doesn't, it takes the 3 passes you get to get super soft. You'd have to do 4, maybe 5 with the 34 with the steel roll on the bottom. And I know why they put the steel rolls for wear on the ground. But the Amish in Pennsylvania are trying to figure out a way to redo the rubber. All it is like a bunch of pressed tires on the shaft, and then they groove it. And trying to figure out how to get a new roll. But I've told people, I said, you don't need to run them on the ground. It wears them out. So, but like I said, they're really a great machine. They work well. They're simple, and they're probably one of the few. Like when you lift it up, the rollers separate when it gets all the way to the top. It's probably like I would say 3-inch gap, maybe 3.5 inches. It separates. So if you do plug it, you're able to lift it all the way up, and it helps get the plug out a lot easier. But like I said, a lot of guys try to run 13 foot through them. That's way too much material to go through that mower. 7 foot, 9 foot works pretty good. But, I mean, it'll do 13 foot if you swath it in close enough. But it just doesn't seem to do as nice a job if you didn't have as much hay as a windrow. I have 2 hay conditioner videos on my channel, and I use the 2A. Good machines. I do like to skip hay every once in a while. I don't know why it's doing that. I mean, I put cylinder stops on ours, but I also run high lift skid shoes on the disc bind and on the hay bind, so the stubble's up like this, I just find that grass grows back faster, and if you have a dry year, you're not going to burn the ground, less likely to with a higher stubble. So probably why I don't have much trouble with mine. The problem with mowing really close is you got to get the roller down closer, and the problem is you're rubbing those rollers on the ground, and they are spinning fast, and it wears the rubber down. And remember, it becomes to a point where the rubber's almost wore out. Now, you can get some more life out of them. Just remember, stand the conditioner up on its side, and I've done it with a chainsaw, and you lock the roller with a clamp, and you go down through, and you see the groove that was there, and you just recut that groove all the way down through there, and be really careful when you do it. And you got to make the deeper the groove, the less likely the hay is to wrap on the roller. So, and we've also found that if you let the hay dry like 3-4 hours, and then you run it through the crimper, it works a lot better than if you go through and run it fresh where it wants to wrap. And always crimp the way that you mowed. So if you're running a sickle bar hay vine, if you missed some hay or a guard knife was broke and it left a streak, if you're going the opposite way, that streak of hay wants to wrap on that bottom roll instantly. Like, it causes a plug instantly. Well, I would say if it's not liking to pick it up, then more than likely you either need to regroove your rollers, or you need to take a shim out of the side and get the rubber so it's almost touching to the bottom roll, the top one to the bottom. But you might be wore down enough on your bottom roller that it's not going to let you come really close together with the top roll, because there is shims on the sides. When you lift the mower up, you'll see where the arm for the bearing is, and there's a spring hook to it. When it comes down onto that roller, there's little shim blocks right there. And I think it's 1 or 2 bolts that hold them in there, and you can take them all the way out. But the problem is, once they come together, that last shim's out of there. You're at the end of the life of the roller, pretty much. But like I said, there's 3 models out there, folks. That's called an international hay conditioner. There's a 2A, a 33, and the 34. So the 34 is like with the metal roll in it. It's like if you got really late hay, and it's like really trying to dry down. The one thing I will say is nice about those hay conditioners, if you have hay that's late and you run it through there a couple times, and the drier it gets, those rollers on that dead material will rub it, because that's how they do. They rub, and it'll make that dry stalk explode. That'll fall to the ground, and the leafy green stuff will stay alive. And when you run it through a few times, it almost looks like second cutting, but it's not. It's first cutting, but you just run it through that machine a few times, and it eradicates almost all the dead material and dead stalk, and makes that late cut August, September hay look just like second cutting. Because that machine is literally, it rubs the hay, and when it does rubbing, if you take a dry stem of hay and you do this and it just crumbles, that's what that hay conditioner is doing to that hay. But if anybody has any other questions, it's like conditioners. I'm not knocking John Deere's with the gears that come together. And there's the Chevron design for New Holland, and their early crushers had the steel roll with the rubber roll. They did all right. I mean, they helped dry the hay down, but all of those were, they were not called hay conditioners. They were called crimpers, or crushers. International literally had the ideal system. Be nice if they can make a 9-foot wide one of those and come back out again and say, hey, we got ourselves the new hay conditioner again, because it makes a big difference on older horses, people. I mean, even the horses that are younger love hay that's soft. I mean, like, you take first cutting and make it second cutting. And I've always believed in, you don't have to buy green for your horses if you got excellent hay. Like, if you make hay that is early, it's super soft. I mean, any of us love, like, super soft material. I mean, it's beautiful stuff. The horses like it a lot. Goats, sheep, everybody likes it. And the machine helps dry down, but remember, there's an added cost, because you have to have somebody run that through that machine, and then you got to have the time to do it. So, but it makes beautiful, beautiful hay. The spring's pressure is set right. Short, thin grass just doesn't like to pick up all the time. If it's short alfalfa, it still pick it up. I don't know. I don't have that problem with my crimpers. They usually don't leave anything on the ground unless it's like, maybe if it was second cutting and it was like really, really, short, like maybe 3-4 inches long, and maybe it wouldn't pick it up. I don't know. I mean, I don't know where you're located. I mean, so we run a lot of canary grass, orchard grass, clover, timothy. I really don't like clover, because that is that's one crop that is really hard to get dry to square bale. You might think it's dry. You get in a bale and it starts musting and molding because clover, the stalks are just so dense, and I mean you can snap them whatever you want to do, and like unless you got like a 3-4 good day window, I just like clover works great for baleage, and that's what a lot of guys do with it, but I'm not a big fan of it trying to square bale it because it just really fools you. You think it's dry and it's not. Yeah, well, that may explains why that roller's probably missing that hay. So please like, subscribe, comment down below. I'm here for the next looks like 25 minutes or so. Please ask questions. I can answer them. I'm here. I'm gonna be doing this video series. I'll do another one tomorrow night, Friday night, Saturday night, and then Sunday will be a 2-hour deal. And hopefully I'll be in the shop, and I'll show you guys a baler, walk over it, and you guys can ask questions about it. So yeah, I mean, guys out there, if you guys are baling dry clover, you can excuse me, you have got an art to it, because it's like I am not a guy that has that much patience. I maybe made successfully red clover or white clover maybe 4 times in my life. Every time I've tried to bale it, I usually, just for precaution, because it scared me so much, I just bale it, single stack it, and salt it like crazy. And that kind of is like, that's kind of my go-to, and I leave it that way for a couple of weeks to let air barn dry, and I really salt the crap out of it because I just don't want the bales to become smoky or dusty. So the best brand of twine. Well, what brands do you have over there, Andrew? I mean, we got Dutchman's Harvest. It's decent twine. It's sold down out of Lancaster. Himrod Supply out of Penn, New York sells it. Plastic twine. I like Tyrite. They have pretty good products. There's a few other plastic companies out there that have pretty good twine. But as far as Sisal, like my go-to all around is 7200. Yeah, Sisal twine sucks because it's like really fray. It's got thick and thin spots in it. If you guys notice, when you're done, like empty a roll of Sisal out, in the bottom of your twine box, there's a pile of fibers like that. You never seen that in the old twine. The twine from back in, when you guys, your dads were younger and you were just a kid. I mean, you've seen a few fibers, but you never seen piles of it. And the quality control on Sisal is horrible. So, and the price you pay for it, you should be getting like straight rope, but they don't. I don't know. There's a couple twine companies that haven't been around in a while, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there's a twine called Clover. I haven't seen that one in quite a long time, and I know New Holland does, but I think New Holland has somebody making their twine for them. I mean, the Massey and all them, they all offer twine themselves, but I think it's all one manufacturer, and they just put it in different packages. The plastic twine, there is a bunch of different suppliers for that. It just depends on who you're used to, but the Tractor Supply twine kind of sucks. I mean, I get almost all the knotter problems I get are Tractor Supply, and because what's Andrew's question? I have to check. I know you talked about 9600, but never seen that here. Well, 9600 is not a Sisal, Andrew. That is a plastic number. Most Sisals are either, you had the really light stuff, 10,000 foot, and you had the 9,000, and then you had 7,200. So that was like the Sisal footages. Plastic goes from 9,600, 170, 9,600, 190, 9,600, 210. And then when you go to the heavy stuff, it's 6,000, 240. So the first number on plastic, guys, that first number tells you the footage. And then there's a dash, and that second number tells you the knot strength. So if it's 9,600, 170, that's 9,600 feet between, because it'll be a 2-bundle pack between both rolls. And then the second number is the strength. It's 170 knot strength. Now the next one would be 9,600, 190, and the second number means that's the strength of that one, 190 pounds of knot strength. My favorite all-around twine is 210. I set up almost all of my internationals that way. But if I'm baling some really super tight straw and I really want to get all the weight I can get into a bale, the best stuff in the world is the 6,240. That stuff is like rope, and it's really nice on your hands. Like the 210 and 240, really similar, but it's really nice on your hands. It doesn't cut into it like the stuff you buy at Tractor Supply. That's like, I think it's 9,000. Some of it maybe 110 or 130. It's pretty thin, and just not my favorite. If your knotter's brand new, it works good. But the older knotters, the knots tend to slide or slip apart, or you get really short tails on them. So stick with like 170, 190, or 210. 210's an all-around good one, but if you're switching the baler from sisal to plastic, you have to increase your tension coming out of your twine box, and you also have to change the knife on your wiper arm because plastic cuts way harder than sisal. So if you try to put plastic in and it not sticks on the bill hook, that's like the number one sign that the knife arm on the wiper arm that wipes the knot off, that knife is dull. So, and I have the updated knives for the New Hollands, John Deere's, or Oliver's. That it's a replacement knife. You have to grind the rivets off, punch them out, and put a brand new knife, and it's bolted in. And it'll cure that tying issue with that when you're switching a baler over from sisal to plastic. Jake, did they still offer clover twine in your state? Because I haven't seen it in a couple years around here. It used to be really good twine. I mean, I haven't seen it in a while, so. Because I'd like to, if you could look on the package and let everybody know on Hey Baler Nation, or if you comment, I'll be on tomorrow night. If you want to post up the name of the company and the address. I mean, of all the twine sisal I've run into in my life, clover's always been pretty good, consistent twine. It doesn't usually as quite as like furry, I call it, or hairy as some of the other twine. The Dutchman's Harvest is comes out of Benco Polyfilm in outside Lancaster, Pennsylvania. They offer that twine. I think they have it made for them. It's all right. I'm not gonna say it's top quality stuff, but it'll get you by. But their 7200 seems to be decent. But it's kind of nice hearing somebody that there's still clover twine out there, sisal twine, because that's pretty decent twine. It really is. And once in a while, I'll buy an older baler, an international, or some New Hollands. They've been in a barn for like 50 years, and they'll have twine that's got creosote in it, and that came from Cuba. And guess what? That twine's as good as the day it was made as it is 50 years from now, because the creosote in it, rats don't chew it. They don't go near it. It stinks. Don't get me wrong. But it just works really well, and it'd be nice if they came back out with that, because I know creosote's kind of toxic now, but as far as like baler twine goes, it was tough stuff. They really kept the twine from rotting, so. A binder twine. I don't know. That's a good question. I'll have to, when we're going down to pick up a twine order, and like, I think, if I want to say probably, I think a couple weeks, I could find out if they do or not. The binder twine, I can't remember. I think I used 10,000 foot, and I re-spooled some spools for some people for the grain binders, corn binders, and even for the Alice Chalmers roto balers. So I'll say, and there's another thing out there, guys. I had a question. So some people are buying some older balers, and if you see you got like the John Deere 114, 116, the John Deere early wire ties, like there's a 214 that has, and you'll see there's 4 little baskets. There's 2 on the top of the bale chamber, 2 on the bottom. What they do is they take smaller spools of wire. So you can buy a large spool of wire, and all you do is get yourself a pulley system, and you re-spool the wire onto a smaller roll. You make 4 individual rolls, put it in there, thread it up, and unless there's something broken, the wire twisters will work flawless. I mean, if they're rusted up, you got to free them up. But a lot of the earlier balers ran small spools of wire. But if you want to run these older balers, wire balers, just remember, you could put a larger spool. You just got to change that small basket and modify it to be able to take a larger roll of wire. But remember, you still need the 4 rolls of wire. That's how they work. They kind of twist in the center more than they do like the twist that we get today, or the International does the Loki twist, which they've pretty much always done. So this past spring, our local co-op had it. Not sure if there was leftover from the year before, but it was a new stock. I will have to ask and see. Well, thank you, Jake. Jake Reynolds is going to check into in Vermont. They had clover twine. So if you can get the address and contact info off the package, we could figure out where it was made. And then I wouldn't mind ordering a pallet of that for myself to pass out to my customers, because I've always had good luck with clover twine. Doesn't mean they haven't changed over the years, but we get a lot of guys ask me how I get the old balers to work, and like I said, I re-spool a lot of my own wire. Bill Stockman had a jig where he had a drill, and it was gear reduction. It turned slow, and he'd run the wire back and forth across to build it up, and then he had it so he could take a nut off the end, pull it off, and take the wire off in one little tiny spool to run in the older balers, the older wire tie balers. Because, like I said, a lot of the John Deeres and stuff had the 4 separate baskets, 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom, and you had to run wire through all those. And I think the early Olivers were that way too, but the later ones weren't. Like the Oliver 100 took big rolls of wire, like full basket rolls. So, if anybody's got any questions, you can ask. I see we got quite a few more followers on here. Here to answer questions, guys. This is my 3rd night doing this. You're welcome to watch the other videos that I done. A big shout out to everybody that's pretty much pushed me to do this. I guess I probably should have done it a long time ago, but this is a chance for you to ask me questions, live pretty much. And if you notice, I keep looking sideways. It's because of this, guys. Your questions pop up here. I'm able to read them, and then I'm able to respond to them. So I know there's a delay in the video, but there's not much I can do about that. I don't know. I guess that's how YouTube does it. So, but if you guys got any questions, ask them. It's the only way I'm going to be able to answer them for you. I try to put as much information into the videos as I can. But remember, after this week, I'm going to do one every night this week up till Sunday, and we're going to do a 2-hour session on Sunday. And then after that, after Sunday, it's going to be just every Sunday after that. And it'll go off of my Hey Baler Nation, Hey Baler Repair and Discussion groups on Facebook. Join them, guys. A lot of great people in there. Clyde Harms. There's some farmers on there that have got great experience. And no, so far, there's not been anybody that's gave poor information on there. There's been a few pages I've been on, and I get upset because there's guys out there that think it's funny to tell a newbie farmer information on how to adjust a knotter, knowing darn well the guy's probably going to break his knotter when he does his adjustment, and then laugh about it how the guy's out the money to replace the parts. We're not about that, guys. If I catch any of that going on in our groups, you're gone. You're kicked out, you're banned from the group. We're all about helping each other here. If you got a great idea, put it up. Let's go with it, everybody's got a different way to do something, but never give advice that's on the borderline of costing somebody money. It's not what we're about. I'm about trying to help people out, try to get you so you can fix your own balers. So you got to understand, guys, I love to be with my family. I don't mind traveling around the country fixing balers for everybody. But remember, if I could teach you how to do your own, and all I got to do is be your guidance and guide you through it, it's not that bad. We're going to start offering this summer online repair. Like, you're going to be my hands, but you need to have great internet or great Wi-Fi. And what you're going to do is have somebody be the cameraman, and they're going to show me what's going on with your baler. And then you or whoever it is you got is going to be the wrench hand that's going to do the work for me. So I'm going to be telling them how to repair it while I'm probably going to be 20 states away. So trying to offer that feature to try to save on costs of me traveling, getting there. I mean, some people just want me to personally work on the balers myself. It's a great honor. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy everybody I meet. I mean, there's some great people and some truly horrific stories about dealers taking advantage of people. So, guys, there's really nobody out there left at a dealership that is got real world experience working on all different models of balers. There's some guys that could change parts, kind of nickel and dime them together, try to put a few pieces here and there and nurse them by. But it's not what I'm about. I'm coming there. I'm going to tell you what's wrong with it. We're going to fix what's wore out. We're going to build it up, make it better. So I don't want you calling me, because if you want to stop in and chat with me, hey, I'm all about it. We'll have a soda, talk about it, the good days and stuff like that. But from Ontario, Don. Hey, Don, how are you doing? I say the Canadians, you're my brothers too. My pastor at my church, he's from Canada, so really cool guy. I really like you guys a lot. Make hemp twine. Yeah, there is, but it's weird because we got this great push now in this country for, CBD oil and marijuana and everything else. Well, I thought for sure with all this marijuana growing up that we'd have Baler twine made here in the U.S., but doesn't seem to be happening yet. So I don't know really what's going on there. Don, what part of Ontario are you from? As we wait for an answer for that, there's quite a delay, guys. It's something YouTube does. Um, oh, you're welcome. You got any questions, Don, about square balers? So far, my favorite Cherry Coke Zero. Really like it a lot. I'm kind of pretty much on a no sugar diet, guys. No breads. I'm on Uptivia. I started out, and I don't want to brag about this, but let's put it this way: I've lost a significant amount of weight, so I can't call this voodoo no more. I can't say that it doesn't work. So Uptivia, we started on it January 2nd. I weighed in. Well, the doctor's office said I weighed 358 pounds. When I stepped on the scale, my first weigh-in, I was 350. But of course, I had all my clothes on at the doctor's office, and they say pretty much, you're almost naked, maybe a pair of socks. So I weighed 350. So now, as of today, as of last Monday, I weigh, I think it's 316 pounds. So I've lost a considerable amount of weight. It works, but I wanted to give this a couple month try before I really started promoting it and to make sure it fits for most everybody. And it seems to. You eat more food in a day, not more food, but you eat more meals, and it seems to work as far as losing weight, which I never thought it would. But it's not voodoo. Central Kitchener Waterloo area. Just interested in watching. Okay, well, welcome to the group. Everybody wants to smoke hemp and not use it for fiber. It should. I mean, I really don't know why they haven't started making baler twine out of hemp again. It'd be stronger, be less likely to be fibery like the sisal is, I mean, it's one of those things, guys. I guess if you got somebody around to do it, I mean, there's enough hemp being grown in the areas. I mean, I don't know if it's still government subsidized or not. Maybe somebody that's watching the video could tell us if it is or not here in the States. I don't know much about it. All I know is they sell a lot of that CBD oil, CBD gummies, stuff like that all around. So you got any other questions, guys? I don't really have a favorite hay rake. Somebody asked me that the other day. Just to get back to that question. Hay rakes, I don't know. New Holland works great. International works great. John Deere's work great. David Bradley's, there's a few of those ones that were a rake tedder combo. They had the two big wheels in the front and the two dolly wheels in the back. They look like a giant cylinder, but there was a lever you could shift on them. And when you shifted it, it would turn it into a tedder versus a hay rake. So they were a really interesting hay rake, and one of our neighbors still has one. So maybe one of the Sunday videos I might actually do it on one of the hay rakes. So, but yeah, guys, please share the video out there. Get more people to come on. I'm going to be on tomorrow night again around 7 o'clock. So I hope to see you all here. Please have loads of questions for me. I want to try to fill you guys up as much knowledge and information as I can give you that I have. Most of the stuff is my experiences that I've gone through in my life. Going on 34 years doing this as of August. So got a few years under my belt. Now, getting older. I guess the gray hair and the beard's turning gray on me now. My wife loves it, so God bless her soul. I got a wonderful wife. I got wonderful children. I got wonderful fans out there in Hey Baler Nation. I want to thank you all for everything you guys do to support me, to support my family. And like I said, I just want to give back to everything you guys have given to me. And you guys are just awesome. I mean, every one of you. Meet some really great people out there, you know. And I said, I want to share my gift with you. Jesus blessed me with this amazing gift to figure out balers, to work on them, to keep them clicking, you know. And it's a real honor to meet as many people as I do, and to make parts that work for the balers. If anybody out there is making updated parts, like they figured out something on a baler that's always been a trouble problem with that machine, and you figured out how to fix it, please share it. Send it to me. Send me a piece of the part, and send me a literature on it, and I will mention you on my channel. I will mention you in the groups, because we need to all work together on these guys, because the manufacturers are discontinuing parts on all the older balers, so it's making it harder and harder to keep these things going. So just so you know, the New Holland 68, I now have the wooden blocks for those plungers. So if you need wooden blocks for New Holland plungers, the 4-rail wooden blocks. And it's amazing that people's like, oh, why would you have a plunger on wood? Well, because it lasted like 40 years. You don't see roller bearings lasting that long. And these are just 4 hard maple slides. And as long as your rails aren't rusty, I mean, literally, it's like it wears like steel, pretty much. Little trickier to adjust in, but once you get it dialed in, and if you're only baling 9,000 bales a year, those hard maple slides in that 68 New Holland. Oh, sorry about that, guy. I got an interruption in service, so don't know what's going on with that. But so yeah, a lot of plungers and a lot of balers have wooden blocks on them. The 77 doesn't. It uses a fiber pad on there. The Super 77s ride on rollers. So yes, I'm back. I don't know what's going on, guys. I guess great cell phone service we got. I have Verizon, so can you hear me now? So I guess just a little side joke there. But all good. Yeah, cool. Is there any questions out there, guys? So we got a few more viewers on. Please ask away. I can only give you a lot of knowledge on my years of on the farm equipment. Not really that much on tractors. I've owned a few over the years. Mostly on hay tools, mowers, disc mowers, stuff like that. I really don't have a favorite hay bind. I guess if I had to choose, because somebody's asked me that a couple times, I really like the International 990. And it's been a real decent mower. And my second place one would be a Heston PT7 or PT10. And then after that would be any New Holland mower, except for the 461, 460s, because the drive shaft went down underneath, and it just, if you didn't keep a guard on it, wrapped up with hay when you're mowing. But the basic functionality of the machine was great. But the hay binds, like I said, I'm partial to the International 990. I had 1190, wasn't the greatest thing on side hills. On the flats, it worked fine, but on the side hill, it gave some weird difficulties. But the 990, just all around, the 7-foot or the 9-foot, it didn't matter. It's kind of cool because when you raise the head all the way up, the rollers would separate just like the hay crimpers, the 990s would. And they're pretty bulletproof machine, really. How would you go about replacing the plunger guide channel adjustment bolt on a 47 baler? Wow, I don't know. That is a good question. I don't think I ever have. Did you strip the threads on it? That's the next question. I would just tell you to thread it down to the next size down on that, or cut that bolt off and re-weld a new one in there. The adjustment bolt. Wow, that's an interesting question. I could see where somebody could strip one if it got rusted in, but yeah, that's interesting. You mentioned that. I don't know how the heck you would, you definitely have to weld another one in, that's for sure, or thread it down to a smaller size. Yeah, the 47 baler is a pretty good baler. 46s, very good baler. 37s. So, guys, really, the 37 and 47, a basic same baler. If you notice on the 37s, on the top feed forks that pull the hay in, they use 2 straps up there on the top, okay? So, a lot of guys will get internationals, and if you get light hay, you'll notice it wants to make the bales don't look really square, like it's not getting enough hay to the heavy side. So, the 47 and you'll see on the 46, they have a fork, and it has a rod in it, and as you can adjust it out. So I usually I adjust the forks out, so when they come into the slots and they come out, I make it so the fingers are just missing the frame as they come out of the chamber, which I think some of the adjustments, it says on there, there'll be a sticker that says don't exceed 22 inches from pin to pin. Ignore that. Just go to the point where you get a nice square bale. So if you want to adjust it out, I think I have one baler of mine that's at 23.5 to 24 inches. Because remember, the farther you push the top of the feed fork out, the more it's going to push the hay farther towards the heavy side of the baler. So unless you're baling large windrows, which will keep the chamber full anyways, but the rust ate away at the shank on the bull and it broke. Oh, you got to make a new one. That is a toughie one there. Or either that, or I have another plunger I could send you, but I don't know where you're located out there. But I do have quite a few parts for internationals. I have lots of knotter parts now because I bought out a couple old dealership stock. So I'm trying to get some new parts made for internationals. The hardest thing is the international baler is the bill hooks. They are unbelievably expensive. We're talking, I think, almost $400 now for a bill hook for an international knotter. But you have to remember, a lot of these bill hooks have made it 40, 50 years. So, Southeast Wisconsin. Well, I have to visit you on my way out because I'll be traveling west here not too long, guys. I'm due for a baler tour again, starting the second week in March. I was going to go south first and then head west, but it looks like getting quite a demand to get out west to get some guys going. So it looks like I'm going to be heading west first, and I'll be making stops in like Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, middle of Missouri, like north of St. Louis, Kirksville, Missouri, Unionville, Missouri. Got some in Centerville, Iowa. Then I got quite a few balers up in towards Oxford, Iowa, Des Moines, and then I'll be heading right into just outside St. Paul, Minnesota. And then I got some balers in South Dakota and North Dakota. So I go all over, guys. I go where I'm needed. I know I got some balers to do in Michigan, so I'm trying to figure out how to fit you guys all in together, so how it seems. Well, I could, Aaron. I mean, if this is the thing is I break up my fuel costs for me traveling between how many people we can get into the area. So I'm not bashful and shy, but I'm also driving a large RV. It is gas, which is a little kind of a plus, but it only gets like on hills and stuff, gets like 6-7 miles a gallon. So then obviously I take deposits, so you're serious about me coming to fix your baler. So it's just covering my fuel costs to get there, guys. The more people you get in an area, I mean, I had a couple stops a couple years ago. They had 12, 13 farmers in the area. It only cost them $50 a person to get me to the area. So because the deposits they leave with me, the $50 from each person, had enough fuel to get me there and get me back home. So I don't charge over that. I just charge my labor rate's $75 an hour plus the parts. And I like to get videos of the baler, pictures of what I'm dealing with when I get there, so you can order the parts, get them at your place. I pull in, we fix it, we get it baling, and I don't leave until we test bale. I don't believe in that. I love to bale in the field, but obviously the times I go out, I'm always busy during haying season, so when I come out, it's always test baling out of the barn. So, and like I said, I've been all over the country, guys, so it's no surprise. If you get enough people to go there, but if you want me to come there in person, I mean, I've had a couple farmers back in 6-7 years ago. They bought me a plane ticket and flew me to their place to fix their baler and flew me back home. So yeah, it's not cheap, but it also sucks when you got no dealer support and you make a lot of money making square bales, and you got two balers that are constantly breaking bales. It gets frustrating. It doesn't take a couple days worth of baling more than pay for getting them fixed, and then you don't have to worry about them for a long time, hopefully. Like I said, I've seen brand new balers out of the box, out of the factory, come out, and they just break. Like they weren't set up right, or the paint they painted the wrong area, and the knotters and stuff stuck. Like I've seen the Tucker finger shaft get twisted right off, just starting off baling. But it's on a dealership because they should free everything up before you hook a tractor to it and start baling with it. But like I said today, nobody's got any training on these balers anymore. Guys are reading books. which, that's fine. But if you didn't really build the baler, you really ain't going to understand what that book's talking about, for adjustments. So, has anybody got any questions? Got quite a few more subscribers. This is anything on to do with hay tools, hay binds, disc binds, rakes, balers, round, square, big square. Um, I don't talk much about the Alströmer's roto baler, the little tiny round baler. Kind of something people try to get me dragged into. I do adjust them once in a while when I'm at the farm shows if you catch me in the right mood for it. But like I said, I'm mostly small square balers, I think is the niche that I've always built for myself. But I always get calls out for the big square balers. There's not much difference, guys. It's just an otter. It's a little larger and runs thicker twine, and same principles apply. Well, everybody that's on, I'd like to see what part of the country you're from. I want to see if I still have some Australian gents on here. So you have to understand, those who logged in, this is my separate iPad. All these are comments down here, right here in this row. If you comment, I get to read it and respond to it. But on my phone that I'm pointing to right now, that I'm doing the recording live feed for, I can't see the messages. They pop up for a few seconds and they disappear. So when I see it pop up here, I look over here on the iPad and I can see what you commented. So if you guys have any questions, concerns, but like I said, this is going to go a couple more nights. I'm building up to it. I'm kind of getting comfortable with everybody. We're going to go to doing live videos into the shop. So Central Missouri. Well, hello, Melissa. Hope you're having a great night. I am heading to Missouri here in I'll be in March, but I'll be in the north of St. Louis. I'm going to be in the Kirksville area. Unionville, that's kind of north of you, I think. So I've done a lot of baler repair in the center of Missouri. So you guys got some great people out there. A lot of cows. Missouri's got a lot of cows. Can't say that I've drove too many states where I see like cows literally every couple of miles, And I mean, there's a lot of cows in Missouri. I don't know if it's the most cows in the country concentration, but I'd say they're running pretty close. Oh boy, Roger, how's he doing, Mister? Speaking of the roto baler, there's my man. Yeah, I did his. I think it's International 430, if I remember right, that I fixed. Okay, reading here. Icon said, I have a 47 baler breakdown headache mystery story, but I'll save that for tomorrow night. I can say I'm not sure exactly what happened as the baler fixed itself. Well, you're lucky on that one. Usually, I don't hear about that stuff. Like balers fixing themselves after they have a conniption breakdown. But a lot of times, balers, it's the baler twine. A lot of times, if you don't see something broke, something might have got bent. But most of the time, it's poor quality baler twine. If you got plastic, it's usually you just need to sharpen the knives or change the knives out. So, well, Melissa, do you guys need me to come back out again, visit you? Because I can't say that I wasn't disappointed. It was a nice area. So, guys, when I'm traveling across the country, if you're not too far off my beaten path, if you get me an address, I might just swing in and say hi. I'm always up for a good smile, or for if a bunch of you guys want to meet me somewhere for a lunch or a supper, we can do that. Well, Melissa, round them up, because like I said, I'm coming to the Kirksville area, just north of St. Louis. I got a few that do there, and I know I think I got a couple in Ohio, one or two in Indiana. I don't think we got anything in Illinois. We had some calls, but nothing's lined up yet. So, but I will heading west. I'm probably gonna be off I-80 unless I have to go down to Columbus, Ohio, and then I'll be coming across the bottom of the states. But eventually I have to head north, because that's where I'm gonna end up in, Kirksville, Missouri, Unionville, Missouri, Centerville, Iowa, to Oxford, Iowa. Probably gonna stop in Columbus Junction just to see when the sale's gonna be there, and hopefully I'm there in the area. Whatever it was defined in the owner's manual, service manual, and the knotter manual. It defied it. Okay, well, wasn't it? Wow. Well, I'm be interested to see what that story is tomorrow. That's for sure. But guys, if you got any questions, please ask. I'm just staying on here now because I see more people are jumping on. If you got a baler question, hay tool question, please ask. How are the parts availability for the John Deere 14? I got quite a bit. I got a large used inventory of parts for 14T and 24T. The Tucker fingers are made aftermarket, new. The needles are made new aftermarket. Saddles are made new aftermarket for 14T and 24T. Plunger knives are new for 24T. I haven't gotten 14T done yet. I have the updated pickup teeth for the John Deere balers. I have the pickup bands now for the John Deere balers. And I have chain kits for them. There's really not a lot to go wrong. As far as the slip clutch in the front of the baler, I still have quite a few used ones. I have the new discs that you can re-rivet new pads to before you wear them down too far. That slip clutch on that 14T. But there's some adaptions out there. You can eliminate that 14T clutch on the front and go. There's a few brush hog slip clutches that'll slide right on the front there. The only problem is, guys, when you're running a 14T and you use one of the brush hog slip clutches, the one advantage the 14T had was the slip clutch has an overrunning gear in it, and it allows it to overrun. So when you don't have that on there, that baler, when you shut it off, the flywheel power is going to come back through that drive shaft. And if you got a tractor that's non-live powered, because you push your foot clutch down, that flywheel is going to continue to drive the transmission on the tractor. Or on tractors that are labored with live PTO, it's going to put a lot of wear on your PTO brake. But like I said, it's not a dead end for a 14T to lose its clutch, because there is some aftermarket companies that offer a brush hog clutch at 6 spline, slides right over the original shaft, fits right in there, and you can put your carrier bearing in the front and hook to it. And as I said, it's really nifty because they came out with that, and you still be able to use your 14T baler. I had another comment. If you see any Oliver balers for sale on your trip, let us know. I'd love to have one to go with my Oliver tractor. Aaron, I actually did. I actually bought a 520 Oliver baler that I haven't have to go pick up yet, but it's been stored inside. It looks really awesome, but can't tell you much more about it than that, other than I've never sold parts for Oliver balers, guys. Of all the balers that I work on in my life, I have yet to sell a knotter for an Oliver baler, a cam, anything really. I think I sold a bill hook once. And I've sold a lot of Tucker finger shafts, and I've sold a lot of needles for Olivers, but I've never sold, in my experience, I think Oliver builds one heck of a good knotter. I mean, it's the same basic design as a New Holland or John Deere, same setup. Wiper arms, got a Tucker finger mounted to the top of the bale chamber. So, yeah, like I said, Aaron, send me a message on Hey Baler Nation. I do have an Oliver baler. It's stored inside that I picked up. I haven't went and got it yet, obviously, but do I have a less expensive option for the stationary knife on a 47? Not really. When I have to do a batch of plunger knives and stuff, guys, it costs me a lot of money to have them copied and to have them reproduced. So everybody's like, well, how come you don't make this? How come you don't make that? Understand something, guys. It takes a lot of capital to make these parts. And when I do it, I don't mark them up enough to, like, I don't know, I kind of catch heck because I don't really make a lot of money on replenishing myself. I put a lot out there, but I do get it back because you guys like the international update kits, and I ordered a lot. The lot didn't come in. I get trickled in here and there, and a lot of my kits, like I'm gonna say 80% of my international update kits, all went overseas. And we got Andrew on here who can verify it. The kit works flawlessly. It's a great kit once you get it dialed in. It makes the international balers really, really fun to run and bale with. So, and that's only for the older knotters, guys. That's from so you're talking the non-Altwine knotters. So you're talking the first 45, 55, 46, 56. Okay, and you got the 27, 37, 47, 57. So it's all those I call them double-digit balers, not the 3-digit ones. But there's some 3-digit balers that have the non-Altwine knotters on them. Hey Ross, no, I actually don't. It's being stored inside, so it's one of those things that the gentleman wasn't really in a big hurry to get rid of it. So I'm like, he's paid for it, so I don't have to get too much of a hankering about going to get it. So, any opinions on that? Massey Balers? Which ones you talking about? The early ones, the three, Massey Harris or Massey Ferguson, number three. The number 9, number 10, number 12, great balers. There's a lot of videos on my YouTube channel I just did. I'll upload some more. Had a slew of Massey balers in north of Knoxville, Tennessee. Had a couple south of Knoxville, Tennessee. And it just seemed like Massey was really strong in that area at one time. And they're great balers, guys. They're not that hard to work on. The biggest thing with a Massey baler is that when they set a while, the plungers like to stick. So this one particular baler, William Power, I think it's Power. I might have said his last name on, but William is his first name. He owns some trade good stores. I think in Knoxville, Tennessee. We worked on his baler, and I think it was his dad's. It sold, and he bought it back, and it sat outside, and they said they couldn't get it to work right. And when we got to that, guys, the plunger was stuck, and I usually have pretty good luck freeing them up. I had a bottle jack, and to free up a Massey plunger, it's kind of unique as I use Freol and I use motor oil like Pennzoil or Quaker State. For some reason, that oil being its wax base, when you squirt it along the rails, it seems a tendency to creep in better. I don't know why. I think diesel fuel would work as well, too good. But we oiled the plunger up, let it set a day, and we oiled it again. And when I started to power it, as I unhooked the plunger, put a bottle jack up against the flat plate of the plunger, and you get it straight, and you put it up into the front of the baler because it's got a heavy piece of steel up there. And I had to use a board, obviously. And you put the hydraulic jack so the pump handle's on the bottom, so it's getting oil. Tighten it up, and it's kind of hard to jack it, but I had a 12-ton jack, and it was all it could do. And we couldn't get the plunger to move until we smacked it with a post maul on the side of the plunger, and it made it jump a quarter of an inch. And there was 2 or 3 other guys there helping me, and we worked at this thing for a good 2 days, and we got it freed up. And if it wasn't for being that it had family ties to the family, and yeah, you could go buy any Massey 12 baler, but this had sentimental value. We got it freed up, and it took a while, but that baler's functioning. It's baling. There's a video of it on YouTube and on Hey Baler Nation of that baler functioning. So, yeah, I've done some pretty crazy things where we had a guy blow his baler up, and I went out and we cut a 6-inch tree out of a baler, and 4 hours later, it was in the field baling for him because his brand new baler blew up. So, I got a few questions here. Planning on a fence row rescue of an early Massey John Deere balers that are around me. Well, yeah, Deere Drummer 47. Yeah, I mean, you guys get the balers out. Please post your comments out. Get on Hey Baler Nation. If you send me some pictures of what you're working with, I might pull the baler that I have in the shop, and you tell me what you want me to go over, and it'll be a live video, and it'll be for everybody to use, So don't be shy, guys. Get on Hey Baler Nation on Facebook. Hey Baler Repair and Discussion is another group we're on. Post your pictures of your balers. Post a little video of it. Say, hey, I'm having trouble with this or that. What's your opinion on it? And then I'll make you a video because I'm going to do them on Sundays, and I'll show you guys how to work on them yourselves. The whole point of this, guys, right now is trying to educate you all so you no longer get stuck. Like, you don't get... So this is some crude stuff that's been happening at auctions. Just to be warned, I've been watching machinery jockeys taking bales that are tied, okay, opening the bale chamber up and sliding them into the baler to make it look like it's tying. When you know for a fact it's out of adjustment or just something's broke in there. And people at auctions are looking, oh, look, it's a tied baler, and buying it and ending up with a headache. I want you guys to be informed on what you're buying and what you're getting. So, I mean, there's some good balers out there. There's some steals out there. I've seen balers in hedgerows. Other than replace all the chains, that's a mandatory, guys. Send me pictures of your baler, and if you're doing the chains, on it, I'll help walk you through on how to time it and stuff. A lot of quick videos on that. I'm going to release probably either this year or next year. I have an hour and a half long knotter DVD on a John Deere knotter, how to tear it apart, clean it, adjust it. The problem is, guys, that video will cover a New Holland. It'll cover an Oliver because all those mechanics of that knotter and an inline Massey, the adjustments and tolerances are the same. Now, the linkages might adjust different, but the tolerances for the needle to the knotter, then the tucker finger to the needle, it's all the same, guys. There's no magic potion like one's better than the other. It's not. It's all about adjustments, you know? Like I said, they're all great balers out there, guys. And like I said, it depends on your preference. I mean, if you're baling light windrows and you're going to be inconsistent and your fields are thick and thin in spots, go with a baler with an auger with it, because the auger is a good, consistent way to keep hay to the chamber. International, early New Hollands like 77, 66s, John Deere balers have augers in them. Olivers, the 60T has an auger in it. The 62T, the Oliver Rotoflow feed, is definitely an excellent baler. And like I said, they all have their pluses. They all do. I'm not a crazy fan of the New Holland feed tines, sweep feed they call it, because, I mean, I have the updates for the 68, 67s, and I have the longer aluminum tines for the 273s, 275s, 268, 269s, a lot of 271s. What it is just a set of tines that push the hay farther into the bale chamber. We came out with a bracket I get from a company down in southern Pennsylvania, and the bracket on the arm of the 273, where it goes from the arm to the carriage that feeds your hay in, we now made that plate break apart, and it's bolt holes, so you can adjust it to shove the hay farther in, or if you're in really heavy straw, you can make it so it doesn't shove it in as far, so it keeps the bale square. But guys, I give kudos to the inline Masseys. They're great balers, but like up here, like real heavy, super thick windrows, and you're trying to push them, you plug one, they are not fun to unplug. So, got another comment here. Well, Aaron, I mean, on the number 10 Massey, I mean, I'll show you how how you break the plunger loose. They happen. The tolerances on a Massey baler are really tight, and it doesn't take much because they're a cast iron slide on an iron rail. And you guys know as well as I do, if you let them out in the weather or even in the barn, if there's hay chaff under that rail, it's going to rust and swell, and it'll tighten things up. So it takes a little bit to get them freed up. Okay, I had to take a look at the auction results. There was a beautiful Massey 224 that went through an auction last fall for $3,800. I thought that was pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good price. Did it have a kicker on it? I mean, that makes a difference. I like the earlier Masseys better than I do the later ones. So the thing I don't like about the later ones is the 120, 124, and the 224 in them is the parts for the knotters are crazy expensive. So the first generation Massey knotter was a darn good knotter. I very seldom had problems with them. You clean them up a little bit, simple adjustments, sharpen the knife on the wiper arm, and they work great. Forgive me there. Does anybody else have any other questions? Like I said, guys, just to let you know. Oh, wow, that's nice. A 224, have a thrower and no rust anywhere. Yeah, that's probably going to bring good money. You got to remember, guys, everything's in perspective now. Price of parts have gone way up. And new balers now, it's ridiculous. John Deere quoted me a price, baler without a kicker, $348 with a few options, not quite the heavy drive line and stuff, $34,000. And if you put a kicker on it, they want another 11 grand almost. So if you guys go to an auction, you see a good used baler, I mean, if you're paying 10 grand for it, that's still not a lot of money, for a decent baler, especially being used. Would I pay it? More than likely, probably not, because I try to stay on the low end of things, guys, because I'm trying to sell to hobby farmers. I do get balers in, like right now we got a SB 541C, which is the same as a 5070 New Holland Hayliner, the industrial series baler. I do buy some of them to flip to the bigger guys. Just I kind of fine tune them in a little better. make them run easier. Everybody's like, they think I have 50, 60 horse and run it. I get done with a 50, 70 Hayliner, guys. I'm running it with a Farmall 200. Same as a Super C, 20, 21 horse. I really dial those knives in. I dial the plunger in. And I mean, other than only packing like a 35, 40 pound bale, if I turned up to 60 pound, yeah, that tractor's going to struggle. But if you guys remember, back in the 50s and 60s, they had almost every baler that came out with a motor on it had 2-cylinder Wisconsin, you know. And then when you went to like some really severe baling, you got a 4-cylinder Wisconsin, which was what, 22 to 24 horse, you know. Unless you had the New Holland 98, which came with that massive, huge Wisconsin engine. I think that was like 35 horse, you know, for a baler. So, and you got Freeman's out there with diesel engines on them, and they still offer motor kits. So if anybody out there wants to put motors on their balers, guys, there's a kit and a catalog. Saw if for New Hollands and John Deere's to put the Predator engine on there, Briggs and Stratton, Honda, and you know, put a motor on a baler if you want to. I mean, yeah, there's PTO versions, but you know, with a motor on there, you can bale with your pickup truck, you know, or you can pull it with a team of horses, whatever's your fancy. I live a lot around the Amish, so we see a lot of horse stuff. Okay. Ever play with Al Chalmers baler? Came across one at the auction, sold for $250. Looked like it lived a very easy life. What Al Chalmers baler are you talking about? Deer Drummer 47. Are you talking the Al Chalmers 303, or what earlier we were mentioning the 302, 442, 444? Or are you talking the roto baler? Because yeah, there's a few guys still running the roto baler around here, not a lot. Sideways 114s are kind of getting hard to find. John Deere 14s, a 303. Yeah, that was a good buy at that price. So yeah, if it was all there, needles in it, knotters are good. Yeah, that's not a bad buy. 303 baler's a really good baler for Alice Chalmers. I mean, they didn't have the 442 had a problem because the darn pickup head had bicycle chain on it. It wasn't one of their better ideas. When all the teeth would hit the ground all at the same time, it usually would blow the chain off or it would jump off if the slip clutch hadn't slipped in a while on the pickup head drive. And the 444s, my biggest problem with them is like you get it dialed in for a heavy wind road, you get into a thin spot, it wouldn't keep the bale really square. They'd kind of come out the back of the kicker and they'd want to buckle a little bit. Kind of the problem some of the New Hollands have. But guys, like the best thing I tell you on the New Hollands, I mean, you can make a nice bale with them. Get the aluminum updates. I got them. There's guys that are dealers in Texas that have access to those tines as well. Tom, if he was on here right now, he would say he would perk up because he sells a lot of parts for New Holland. There's some adjustments you can do, but the best thing you do for New Holland balers, if you're getting those crooked looking bales, is slow your PTO down a little bit and pick up your ground speed. Keep that head a little fuller, and you'll get better looking bales coming out the back. Way better looking. On the internet, on the New Hollands, the 570s, 575s, you got lots of feed fork adjustments there. Keep playing with it to get it dialed into where you got. And when you get an operator for a baler, guys, try to match the PTO speed and the ground speed to where you're making the perfect bale and keep your windrow the same. And that really helps a lot. Got a few more questions here. Does the 282 need the stuffer updates? Aaron, yeah. If you're in thin hay and you're getting a banana bale, yeah, you definitely need the hay. But remember, your baler is a high capacity baler, like 282s, 283, New Holland 78 hay liner, same size. It's a 16 by 18 bale chamber. That baler is made to have a lot of hay put to it. It really wasn't meant to go out there and do like single 9-foot windrows. I mean, that thing was made to rake, 4 or 5 windrows together. And I mean, it's just, you guys see the flywheel. It's a massive flywheel, massive gearbox. It's got a really heavy duty reinforced plunger in it. And yes, we can get you the updated teeth. And all it is it's got longer tines and they curve and they carry that hay farther across into that bale chamber to keep that bale nice and square. But again, if you don't keep it full of hay, I don't care what baler it is, you're going to get a crooked-looking bale. The one advantage to an auger is, guys, is the augers in the John Deere's and Internationals. If you see the hay goes underneath it, if there's not enough hay, it just stays there. It doesn't go anywhere. And then when enough hay gets there, it takes over, just like an auger on a silage wagon, it evens that distribution out, And the feed forks, if they're adjusted correctly, will put the hay centered into the bale chamber the best it can. You know, Oliver really broke the mold there with if you guys all remembered Oliver Baler, they have roto flow feed. All it is the roto flow feed is a hay rake system in the baler, and your hay rake goes forward. This goes backwards. It is really neat design that Oliver came up with, because if you ever rebale a broken bale with them, one set of teeth will come down, start taking the flake in, another one comes in the front, and it actually pulls that square of hay apart as it's feeding it over to the bale chamber. To the to your stuffer forks that pull the hay in and pack it into the bale chamber for you. But it's really ingenious how Oliver came out with that, and then Heston carried it on to the 5400, which is just all it was an Oliver 720. But Heston went overboard with shields on it. I have no idea why. I just way overdid it on shields. I'll send you a pic of mine to see if it has the update. Definitely gets uneven bales. Yeah, guys, I mean, so another thing that's been happening is the 575s, 570s. A lot of guys will come out of a windrow, go in another windrow, and they hate it. You get this short bale and long bale stuff. Okay, I'm starting to experiment with going back to the old meter wheels because the John Deere 24T is amazing. Because what they do is they use a meter wheel, and I can't explain it. See, like my knuckles are right now, it's kind of V'd, and it's not quite a V, and an arms is V'd to match it. And if you notice on a 24T, it'll go rock up and down, and it does on a 336, 346. And you get more precise bale, accountability. I mean, it just makes the bales like a lot more even. And on the New Holland, when they went to that gear design, every time that plunger packs in there, and this is where bale skis guys come in real critical. It takes away that spring back a lot, and it'll stop that, because if it goes back and forth enough, it just keeps ratcheting those teeth up. And instead of getting your normal 3-foot bale, you're going to get a 2.5-foot bale. A lot of guys on the New Hollands, on the 570s, 575s, and even on the 326s, 316s, and 311s, they'll do it as well. But I've been experimenting with putting in the older meter wheel and meter arm off the older balers, like the 280, for instance, or the 273s, 68 Hayliner 69. I've experimented with putting them on there, and I've noticed that the bale length becomes more consistent. So, unconclusive yet. I want to get a couple more years under my belt and a few more balers I'm going to test with, because this is just experimental. But it's weird that the old technology is doing a better job of meter and bale length than the new ones is. What these engineers are coming out with, which they wear out and they sell more replacement parts. So the heavy duty John Deere T-Series balers, all is different. What model are you actually referring to? I mean, yeah, they say they're built a little heavier, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm sold on all the hype or not. But anyway, guys, a lot of things go on during the year. So the T series isn't really like heavy duty. It's just one's twine, one's wire. So the wire type version be a WS, and if you get a 14T, a 14, or it'd be like a 214 with WHS, that's the one that takes the 4 individual rolls of wire on the back, and it twists the wire in the center. But there's no difference. So if you buy a baler that's wire, you can change it to twine. That's almost all New Hollands will be that way. John Deere's is that way. It's just from the 24T on up. Don't matter if it's wire or twine, the bale chamber's stamped to take either one. So if a lot of guys will buy a wire baler, they already have a twine baler, but they've like pretty much wore it out. Wire balers don't get the use that a twine baler does. So you pull it up beside it, and with me and another guy, 4 hours, I could switch a John Deere 24T 224 336 from wire to twine in about 4.5 hours. And you're just switching parts back and forth. That's it. It's not really hard to do. And I said, there's bolt holes in that bale chamber for a reason. You just, like I said, I tell a lot of people, take pictures, video. But you can buy a wire baler a lot cheaper than a twine. But don't buy a wire baler thinking you're going to switch it to twine by buying all the parts. Parts are not cheap right now, guys, for balers. I think brand new knotters from John Deere are running right around, I think, 2,800 bucks. I heard for a new knotter half. That's the new clamp on style. But used knotters in my area are bringing $600 to $650 for one half. So you got to be cautious of that. Make sure you already have the twine baler and say it's just getting really wore out. Go find a same model in a wire baler. You won't pay a third the money, and it won't have the wear on it that the twine baler will. And you just switch your parts, from one to the other over. I'm not objected to wire, guys. I'm kind of a fan of wire because literally the only time it fails is if you got weak wire or if something's broke. Wire knotters are nothing to be scared of, and like I said, none of the wire knotters from the later, I'm gonna say late 50s, 60s, in the and newer doesn't leave clippings on the bale. I mean, if you don't believe so, put a magnet across the bale chamber across the top. And if you don't think so, that magnet would grab any kind of wire clippings if it was falling off the bale, but never picked up any yet. So the only time a wire knotter really fails, guys, is like usually it's poor quality wire. If you have poor quality wire, the best way to get around that is to run your baler a little slower. So when the hook twists the wire, it doesn't get it hot enough to make it break at the bottom. So a lot of guys are like, hey, it keeps breaking at the bottom. I tell them slow the RPM down. I don't hear from them again. It kind of sucks if you're trying to get a lot of capacity through a baler, but it's just the world we live in. Sometimes they make good quality wire. Sometimes it's poor quality wire. Same way with sisal twine, plastic twine, guys, which is good and bad. It'd be great if the money you spent was always going for the best product you can use, but that's not how it is today. It's pretty greedy out there. I mean, I buy parts every day, and I think I'm getting good quality stuff, and it just doesn't hold up like it should, like I think it should for what we pay for it. So, any other questions, guys? I'm looking at, so just so everybody knows, I'm going to do it again. This is my iPad, so all your questions come up down here, and I'm able to read them because on my screen here, they disappear like 4 seconds. So I'm able to reread your questions as you put them up and continue to answer them the best I can. So remember, we offer parts online. We offer updated pickup teeth and stuff. 607-846-5959. It's RNS Ag Service. You'll get my wife or our secretary, Stephanie. She's awesome. And it's like I said, we offer a lot of products. We can get a lot of stuff. We offer the update kits for the international balers. So I'm trying to bring these old balers back to life. And I have a lot of guys, I have some custom guys running some old balers. I got a couple guys, not but 30 miles from me, running 24 Ts. Okay, Frank Lang. What are Massey 3 through 12 knotters worth? Have 3 might be interested in selling. Truthfully, Frank, I've never really. I know somebody's broken a knotter before on the Massey. I haven't run into it yet. So it's worth whatever you can get out of there. I would say if you got the whole thing, it's complete, it ought to be worth 150, 200 bucks. For a good stack. I mean, the gears look good, the teeth look good, the bill hooks are really good. There's no wear marks into them like the twines wore into them. That would be my opinion. I have a couple sets of knotters, but I just don't get calls for Masseys. They just don't give trouble. That's the whole thing. If it doesn't give trouble, I don't worry about it. This is my Cherry Coke Zero. I love this stuff. Not a lot of sugar on this diet I'm on. Any other questions, guys? You guys have, if you guys got parts to sell, Hey Baler Nation's the place to put them on, or Hey Baler Repair and Discussion. Offer it up on there. Your post will be up, and somebody can snag onto it. Every once in a while, I see a Heston 4600 for sale for cheap. Is there any reason why they are cheaper than the second generation inlines? The problem is because, Aaron, the auger turns the other way, but I'm a fan of the 4600. The only downfall they have is the plunger bearings do have a tendency to go out of them quite a bit. And you got to remember, when you're feeding the hay from underneath, your plunger knives on the bottom of the plunger, and so is your stationary knife, they do like to collide. And when they do, it kind of bends stuff in there. If you find one that hasn't had steel replaced, welded back in, Yeah, they're a great baler, but the first thing I tell you to do is put brand new and try to find American made roller bearings for the plunger. Not had the greatest luck with these Temkin Mexican bearings. I really starting to really dislike them. I'm actually finding that the Chinese ones are a little better, which is pretty sad to say. But anymore, like I said, I like to have an American made product, and or at least if a foreign company is gonna make a bearing, let's make it so it's quality. You guys are charging enough for the darn things. We ought to be able to get at least get. I mean, if a guy's high producing hay, you should be able to get 2 or 3 years out of that bearing. But I'm seeing them fail with after a year, like getting 20,000 bales on them. So, but yeah, like I said, if you change the bearings into 4600, they're a good baler. I have nothing wrong with those balers. But remember, it's the newer balers. The augers turn upwards. This one turns down. So if you get like a real big clod in there, it's gonna make the slip clutch go off. But like I said, if you keep most of the hay in the center, they're a real good baler. There's not. I wouldn't be too afraid of a 4600. So I don't suppose you have a flyer for your services that I could print off and post locally. No, I don't actually. I just used Facebook and YouTube. uh, I got some. I'm going to be making some Balerman shirts and hats. Got a lot of people like to buy them and wear them. I'm going to do a thing this fall, guys. Again, I do this every couple years. I got 2 balers I picked out. I'm going to go through them, and we're going to have an auction for them. And I'm auctioning them off, and it's going for the church's kids to pay for their camp. So when they go to camp, a lot of kids don't get the ability to the parents be able to afford to send the kids to camp. I like to think that hey, let's I have all these balers. I don't really need them all, and I like to pick ones that are pretty popular. And what we do is we have what they call a silent bid. So it'll be on Facebook, or I'll probably do it on YouTube now. I'll offer the baler. You submit a bid. So it's silent. So the highest bid wins it, and I give so many days. You can keep submitting many bids as you want till the closing time I have set for it. And of course, the highest bid gets the baler. And no, I'm not going to tell you what the other people bid. This is called bid by your heart. Okay? You bid off your heart. It's going for a great cause. I've seen it myself. These kids' faces, the glow, this money goes to them to go to camp. It pays for their food. Probably gets them some camp supplies. And I just want to let you know, guys, it's really meaningful to see these kids to be able to go to camp and be able to do something, even when their families can't afford to do it for them. I think it's a blessing to be able to send them to be able to do something that they can be around other kids and be a part of, something really, really great. So, like I said, I'm going to be offering up 2 balers for you guys. I'm probably going to pick some really rare ones this time out of my collection and put them up. And like I said, it's a silent bid. You submit a bid. And like I said, everybody always asks, what's it at? No, I don't do that. I don't tell you because this is on your heart. You bid what you feel is right in your heart because it's going for a good cause. You're getting something out of it. It's not like you're just donating for charity. You're getting something out of it, and the kids are going to get something more out of it. So let's keep it up, guys. Let's make a few kids really, really super happy. And like I said, just a blessing. I enjoyed doing it. I did the John Deere baler thing. If anybody was on Facebook at the time, I had a 336. Quite a few gentlemen were bidding on it. It brought really good money, which was really made me happy because it sent a lot of kids to camp. Okay, I mean they filled the bus, and I'm telling you what, guys, that's a blessing on all you. It's all of you, not just the person that bought it, but everybody, because you guys helped that get to that point where everybody's you're helping send kids away to learn and to enjoy other kids, and they don't feel like they're being left behind. So no business. I guess I tell you what. You guys know Rachel Larrabee, my wife. Please hit her up hard. Get on there, hit her up on Messenger, hit her up on Hey Baler Nation. Tell her I said, hey, we need business cards. So I literally the last 10 years, I don't have to advertise. Okay. It's not hard for me to find work. I appreciate all the work you guys give me. You're all awesome out there. The whole reason I'm even in this to do fixed balers and stuff is because all you guys out there. I mean, stuff breaks, and I like to share my talent with you. And I'm hoping that when I show you something, that you pass it along to somebody else, and it's just keep paying it forward. Just really pay it forward for me. I got some awesome people on Hay Baler Nation, on Hay Baler discussion. I got awesome people on my Facebook page. You know, I wish I could just like get you all together and we have one giant party. So, like I said, please share this video, get more people, tell them about it. We're gonna do a video every night till Sunday, and if it becomes a regular thing, guys, I might keep doing these videos every night for you. You guys can ask your questions, I can answer them. I would like some more insight on what baler models you want to like me to go over better. I have a lot of balers. A lot of them are in storage. So, like, if we have a model, it might take me a week or two to dig that baler out to do a video on it. So, like I said, on my trip, guys, I might do some live videos. If you guys want me to stop at your place and work, if you are not ejected to it, I might do a live YouTube video at your place on your baler. So, and remember, somebody on this trip is getting a free, no charge labor or travel expense. So, and it's just a random thing. I have a ticket thing, and I tear off all the tickets. I put everybody's name on them, and I will roll the basket. And as I'm driving, we're going to pick out one, and they ain't going to know till after the job's done. So, you might be the lucky one that gets that, that gift. So, I just something else added into there, something I could pay forward to somebody. So, I don't do Facebook, etc. I'm grateful for the YouTube. Well, that's fine. I mean, I'm going to continue to be on here. But like I said, don't knock Facebook, guys. I'm probably not the hugest fan of it. I've been in Facebook jail. But it's a way for me to connect to you guys. And it's a way for you to post pictures, comment. When it comes to helping other people, whether you think it's good or bad, it's always good to help. So don't always knock it, because if you can help somebody, it's worth it. You might have advice that it helps somebody avoid the headache that you had when you're working on your machine. And that's the whole point I do the groups for, is as other farmers helping other farmers, move forward, in life, instead of making life more difficult. Hey, we've all got it tough. Let's make it easier for once. Like I said, there's some great baler mechanics on my pages. I mean, I got Clyde Harms. I got some custom operators on there, and they'll guide you guys to where you need to be, because I won't always be online to try to answer your questions, because I get tied up during the day on my own projects. I appreciate your willingness to help me last summer. I was at the point of giving up. You saved the season. It's above and beyond. Well, thank you, Aaron. I mean, like I said, I'm not afraid. You guys ask the questions. I'll try to answer the best I can. I'll try to point you in the right direction. I will give it my all. I'm trying to get you guys like back in the field and back in baling. I will tell you one thing. Get more than one baler. I don't care who you are. Get a backup. But one important thing with a backup is actually use it. Like during the year, I tell guys, when you're ending your season, leave 3 windrows or 4 and go out and bale with a backup, just to run hay through it so it works a little bit. Leaving them set in the shed because they're a backup, oh, well, it's inside, they don't need it. Yeah, it does. Stuff sticks, stuff gets, stuck fast. A little workout always does everything a little good. And you always want to know that backup's ready to go if you really do need it as well. Any other questions, guys? It's been a real good topics tonight. And again, my new job title, I'm working at New Holland, Binghamton, and Vestal, New York. Swing in, say hi. We got a toy section that just got put up today. Come in and help support, buy some toys and stuff. We'll expand the toy section some more. We got some nice New Holland skid steers, play sets for the kids. Anything we can do, guys. I just want to, like I said, the toys in the farm machinery dealerships have disappeared. Let's get it back to, remember as a kid when you walked in with your mom or dad to get parts, it's always about going down the toy aisle, I want to bring that experience back to kids looking forward to going to the dealership, not just because stuff's broke, but because, hey, you know what? Dad, that's kind of cool. You own a New Holland tractor or whatever, John Deere tractor. I can get the toy that is kind of close to what you have. So I've got 3 at the moment. Think of going to the dark side and getting a New Holland 317. Ah, jeez. Oh, Andrew, you're always a hoot, my friend. You're always a hoot. But I think you're red all the way through, Andrew. I think you're just trying to pull my chain and get me all wild up for nothing. So, um, so far I've only seen one of my Australian friends on here. I wish I could see Luke on here and a few others, but must be Andrew's a pariah over there, and they don't like listening to him, or he hasn't shared my link to my video very much. So, but guys, like I said, anything I can do to help you with your baler projects, parts, or whatever, I mean, you can call. Like I said, our number, it's now a cell phone number, so you could text it. It's 607-846-5959. It's a cell phone now. You can leave a message. You can text it, send pictures to it. Makes it a lot easier for the girls if you send what's broke and text what you need, then it's in the phone and they know they can look back on it. Phone calls, everything gets jumbled up. 12 p.m. here. That's fine, Andrew, but unfortunately, your favorite Baler guy has to make time for all of his other fans. So, you Australian gents, you're a pretty tough crowd there. So, I don't want to hear any complaining. You know, step back, take a Foster's beer, and enjoy yourself, sir. But anyways, no, but seriously though, the weekend should work better for you, Andrew, and you guys. But I'm trying to keep it the same time so everybody looks forward to it and they can get their questions ready. So remember, I'm doing a video every night this week, guys. So I was gonna do 8 o'clock, but we're moving it up to 7 because I can get out of work fairly decent. An email, I'm not loving. Email is balerparts24t@yahoo.com. So again, that's Baler Parts, BALER PARTS 24t@yahoo.com. That's the email address we use for most everything when people are emailing pictures and stuff. So eventually we'll have a website up. Kind of hard to work on it when we're constantly bombarded with shipments, and we're having a hard time right now getting lots of parts in and keeping them in stock. Just remember, it's just me, and I'm doing a lot of just the service work, and my wife and Stephanie. So be patient with the girls, guys. I'd love to hire more people, but as anybody knows in this country, there's not a lot of ambition in the younger generation to want to work. So I'm not McDonald's. My work kind of stinks. It's heavy. It's dirty. It's not great. So the more information I get out there, the more people can work on their own stuff that are interested in doing it. So I'd love to get somebody out there who'd love to be an apprenticeship and learn, have me show them what I know, and they could take off with it. Said it 20 times.